Alright, so since all of that's trimmed down, I'm just going to go back to my multi-track file, which you could find up by double-clicking it in the file browser, or you can choose any of the open files or the files in your files browser here at the top. So we just want to do a radio spot, and we're back to our multi-track file. If you want to add another one, you can create another track just by saying tracks, add audio track. That'll add one. And then you can drag and drop your vocal stuff here. So I'm just going to move it just like you would video footage. Okay, so you should notice that the music is drowning out the audio a little bit. So it's hard to hear this audio down here with the music so loud. So if we look here, we can change the track volume. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll take it down to like a reasonable number. Let's listen to what that sounds like.
Do you remember the 80s?
So it's still a little loud. Let's just take that down to like 14, and you can manipulate that at any time. And then we're gonna bump this up a little bit and change this to like 2 decibels or something like that.
Do you remember the 80s?
Alright, so that sounds like a fine balance for now, and you can always go back and change that if you want to. So essentially you want to add all of your audio just to this track, your vocal audio. So you can add an order and put a little space. You just want to match the finished version as far as this audio goes. Okay, so do that next. I wanted to make mention that you can name these audio tracks in your multi-track file, which is always a good idea. So I'm going to just name this music and voice. Alright, so I'm going to load 2 more files here via the import. And I'm going to go to my audio and choose FX1 and FX2. So I just pressed Shift and open those 2 up. And so now I'm looking at those in my file browser, and I'm just going to open up FX1, and I'm just going to open up FX1. Alright, and I'm going to trim the front but not the back because I'm going to need a little extra room on the back. And let's just listen to that.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's put some effects on it to give it that zany radio voice. So I'm going to go click the Effects tab, and there's some presets up here, so I'm going to use one. If I scroll down, and you can't see it in the window, but it's called Telephone. So I'm going to choose Voice Telephone. It's at the very bottom, and as you can see, it put a couple of effects on there. So now I want to put a delay on that too. So I'm going to go to Effects and add Analog Delay, and there's some presets on that too. Public Address Aggressive. So let's have a listen to that. So it kind of has that zany radio voice. I'm going to trim it here and show you what happens if I don't leave the tail end of that. You don't get the rest of the echoey-ness of that. So I'm going to undo that. So you can gotta give it a little room so you can hear the rest of that echo. Alright, so that's good, and so we'll save it. Now any effect that you add through this method you can turn off. You can go back to that file and turn that off or on. So this is a if we decided we didn't want that or change this handy, to change something, we can go back and change it. You should note that you can only edit that or take them off in the context of the software and the file you're working on. So back to files, and we want to go back to our multi-track file and add that affected audio to it. If you look here, there's this little asterisk that indicates that it hasn't been saved. These as well. So I'm just going to say Apple S and make sure that's saved down for us. And we changed FX1. So if I want a new audio track, I can go up here, or I can just drag the audio file below the last track, and that'll give me a new audio track. And I'm going to name this FX. And we want that to show up right after he said great hair and how great the 80s was. So let's see.
Here, and of course the great music. Well, come on down to.
So I have a little gap here, so you might have to move some things around to make that work. That opens up the file. I'm going to trim the front but not the back, and add my effect. So essentially, I'm going to go up to Effects and add another delay, and choose Public Address Aggressive.
That's crazy.
And I want to go ahead and add that to the final add too. Alright, so last item of business we'll want to do is to change the speed, that last bit of audio, and you were supposed to record that audio, so you want to make sure you know where that's at. Radio spots are only 30 seconds, so we want to keep it within those 30 seconds. I'm going to go down here to tasks and choose, well, first of all I want to open up that file. So I'm going to go files and whatever you name that audio. I named it caution. Alright, so there's that audio. I'm going to go ahead and open that up and trim the front and the back of that. So we're just getting rid of that extra space. So there it is. Alright, so I'm gonna go down to tasks and choose change pitch and timing. Something that you should know, that this stuff down here is a permanent edit. You want to have a backup of any file that you're gonna change the pitch or the timing, etc. Unlike effects where you can turn it off, this you can't go back and turn off. So you want to make sure you have a backup before you start editing it. So I'm gonna click this pitch and timing, and I want to make it go faster. So I'm gonna decrease this time stretch to 50%. Let's go ahead and preview that and see what it sounds like. So it's important to preview it because it's a permanent edit, so you can't go back and change it from the original. So preview it. Once you get it to this pace you want, you say OK, and it's manipulating the file. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and save that and go up to my multi-tracked file and just drag that to our voice section here and put it at the end here. Okay, so if we're outputting this to send it to a radio station or something like that, we want this to be one single file. We wouldn't want it to be a multi-tracked file. So we want to mix all that down. Pretty easy. We'll just say File, Export, and it says multi-track mix down. So that's the one we want. And once again, we want to choose Wave and press Save. 4800 or 44100 is fine. 16-bit stereo. And we'll say OK.
Now we have a mixed down exported wave that we can send to the radio station.